ජීවිතේ වැඩිපුර ලැබෙන හොඳම දේවල් විඳින්න. දැන් SLT broadband වෙතින් 75% දක්වා වැඩිපුර data සතුට ජනවාරි 1 වෙනිදා සිට ශ්‍රී ලංකා ටෙලිකොම්.
Anticipating change. Reports of a cabinet reshuffle on Sunday. UMP allegedly wants Field Marshal Fonseca as Law and Order Minister, but the SLFP isn't happy. National Carriers Woes. Airline Pilots Guild charges that Sri Lankan Airlines was not managed commercially but politically. Voice of Students. Student Action Committee of SITEM sends a letter to the President. Says all students should be absorbed to the KDU without discrimination. Deputies Crisis. Australia's Deputy Prime Minister to resign over affair with a former staffer. New leadership. A new president elected to the National Olympic Committee of Sri Lanka.
A very good evening. This is First at 9, another Derana. I'm Katharina Chang. Now on to our top story tonight. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe is of the view that the recent election results reflect the public's dislike towards the process adopted by the government. The Premier said that this is a discussion held at the Temple Trees today. Meanwhile, it is reported that a cabinet reshuffle is set to take place on Sunday with some ministerial positions under special scrutiny.
A special discussion on the development programs that would be launched during coming 2 years and the restructuring of the United National Party was held at the Temple Trees today under the patronage of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. Several UNP ministers, deputy ministers and state ministers attended the discussion.
Through the local authorities' election results, people gave the message that they are not happy with the plan we're implementing. Although this is a drawback for us, other countries usually hold elections to ascertain whether people agree with the principles of the government or not. Therefore, we accept this result. There is a cabinet reshuffle under the President. We will also reconsider the policies of the government. We're dedicated to building a new leadership. We have vested some ministers with potential leadership skills to ascertain your thoughts. We hope to discuss those with the President and other ministers. We will appoint a group to look at restructuring the party in the coming days. We hope to move forward within a month of all this work. People have hopes and they have not changed. In the meantime, political sources say that several cabinet ministerial positions will undergo changes next Sunday. According to sources, the UNP has requested that the Ministry of Law and Order be placed under Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca, while Ministers Lakshman Kiriella and Kabir Hashim will swap their ministries. A number of senior members of the SLFP, however, have opposed Minister Sarath Fonseca being given the Ministry of Law and Order. Ministerial positions held by some ministers of the SLFP are also likely to change, and a meeting is scheduled between the party's big hitters and the President on the matter tonight. In the meantime, the politicians voiced their views on the looming cabinet reshuffle today.
Cabinet
A cabinet reshuffle is needed because the people of this country have given an anti-government vote and everyone should accept it and reshuffle accordingly. I hope through this reshuffle I will be given more responsibilities, making better use of me. The cabinet reshuffle will see the very people who were defeated being given different positions. The parliament should be dissolved in consideration of the country. There should definitely be a change. It shouldn't just be a change of positions. A powerful, radical change should be done with new leadership roles given to new faces in the SLFP and the UNP.
මන් සම්බන්ධව නේ මිනිස්සු ඡන්ද දුන්නේ පක්ෂය සහ පක්ෂයේ ආණ්ඩුවේ යම් යම් ප්‍රතිපත්ති වලට ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ විරුද්ධතාවයක් ඇති.
President Maithripala Sirisena points out that use of narcotics play a major role in the rise of rural poverty. The President made the matter evident while addressing the opening ceremony of the rural program Gama Hada Gamu, implemented under the national program to rid the country of narcotics today.
The first instalment of the rural program Gamahadagamu under the Matin Nidahas Ratak National Program was held under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena at the Mahaveli ground in Ambalipitiya today. Under the program, narcotic raids, rehabilitation programs and other prevention programs will be worked off across all villages of the country.
We were able to achieve success with the narcotics prevention program that was worked off island-wide. If I elaborate on the success based on data, smoking in this country has decreased. It is a considerable achievement in the health sector for the people of this country. On the issue of poverty, most narcotic users are from low-income families. That is why the poverty increases. Therefore, I respectfully request you to join this program to eliminate this menace.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa says the strength of the government with which it functioned in the past has now deteriorated. The former head of state made this remark in response to questions raised by journalists today.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa met with the chief incumbent of the Narthagala Aranya Senasana in Horana, Venerable Ingiri Dhammindathira today. The former head of state later responded to questions by journalists following the visit.
We see that they're not as close. The government does not possess the strength they had before. The country is unstable. We wanted to see the written agreement they had with each other. The agreement has expired, so once it is over, you cannot say verbally that there was an agreement in place. No one is producing this letter. It is clear that the government cannot do this. Do you think they will do in 2 years what they failed to do in 3?
The president of the Airline Pilots Guild of Sri Lanka, Captain Ruan Vitanage, says that unions are concerned with the sustainability of the debt-ridden national carrier Sri Lankan Airlines. Speaking at a media briefing in Colombo today, Vitanage added that the airline should be run with a commercial objective as opposed to fulfilling political objectives, which he says is one of the main reasons behind the institution's instability. A memorandum of understanding between trade unions of Sri Lankan Airlines was penned in Colombo today. The objective of the MOU is to collaborate and function as an alliance to address, resolve and take collective action in respect of matters that will relate to or have an impact on all the employees of Sri Lankan Airlines represented by the parties. The parties include the Airline Pilots Guild of Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka Nidhas Sevaka Sangamaya, Flight Attendants Union, Sri Lankan Airlines Aircraft Technicians Association, Executive Association of Sri Lankan Airlines and the Aircraft Engineer Guild of Sri Lankan Airlines. Speaking at the media briefing today, President of the Airline Pilots Guild of Sri Lanka, Captain Ruan Vitanage, spoke on the direction the airline needs to take in order to move forward.
I think for any partner to come in, Sri Lankan Airlines has to have some sort of sustainability. At the present time, our concern is that are we heading in that direction? Well, 3 years have gone by and all of us have got together because we as employees also feel that the airline should be first brought to a stable status, because over numerous period can't be pointed in one particular period as such. This airline more been politically motivated or managed than commercially. So starting from the appointments, it has to be with a commercial objective, not a political objective. We don't know whether the board is actually functional. So if we are going to have some sort of direction in the company, there has to be a functioning board, a chairman, a CEO. And our objective here is that whoever is managing this uses the resources available and also for it to be transparent. Our aim is to support any restructuring process, but at the same time request from those that have the ability to appoint people who can achieve the objective. I would say pointless to talk about the losses of the airline if we have the wrong people in the wrong position.
In a letter addressed to the President, the Student Action Committee of South Asian Institute of Technology and Medicine requested that all necessary legislative changes be carried out prior to the enrollment of its students to General Sir John Kothalavala Defence University. The request comes following President Maithripala Sirisena's decision to transfer students of SITEM to the medical faculty of Sir John Kotalawala Defence University. The letter also requested further clarification of the transfer and the implementation of the solution. On Wednesday, the President announced that all students from the South Asian Institute of Technology and Medicine be transferred to the medical faculty of the Kotalawala Defence University after considering requests and proposals forwarded by all stakeholders. It is in this backdrop that the Student Action Committee conveyed their gratitude to the President for providing a prompt solution to the matter in a letter dated 22nd of February 2018. However, it added that as the details of the transfer was unclear, they requested the President to take into consideration their concerns when implementing the solution. In their letter, the Student Action Committee requests that students who are currently at SITEM be enrolled to the KDU without any discrimination. The committee added that since their intention was to study in Sri Lanka, due to financial and social issues, they strongly oppose any attempts made by certain parties to undermine the President's decision and send a fraction of students abroad to continue their medical education in foreign universities. Furthermore, the Student Action Committee requests that the President come up with all necessary legislative changes before enrolling SITEM students to the KDU. Meanwhile, the Government Medical Officers Association, SITEM Parents Association and the State Medical Faculty Students Parents Union convened a media briefing today.
As GMOA, as the combined group, we welcome the move by the President, and we are hoping that the President will intervene in the future also to get the final solution out of this. And we propose that there should be a technical committee without politicians to suggest the further actions in this regard.
An underworld figure and drug kingpin, D. Manju, also known as Dadallage Manju, died today following a shootout with the police special task force in Vattala. The gang of drug dealers opened fire at STF officers in the area of Hakitta in Vattala today when the officers attempted to search the vehicle following a tip on a drug deal. The STF officers opened fire in return, and later underworld figure D. Manju was found dead at the scene while two others were taken into custody. The deceased was a suspect in the murder of urban councillor Shamila Sandruwan in 2014, with many cases filed against him, including possession of a firearm and other murders. The body of the deceased is placed at the North Colombo Teaching Hospital in Ragama. Police investigations into the incident are underway. Former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa filed a revision petition before the Court of Appeal today, seeking to be discharged from the avant-garde case. The Commission to Investigate Bribery or Corruption filed a case against the former Defence Secretary and 8 others for allegedly causing 11.4 billion rupee loss to the government through the avant-garde floating armoury. The revision petition states that 8 defendants, including the former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa, are due to appear before the Colombo Magistrates Court on the 26th of this month after a charge sheet was filed by the Commission to Investigate Bribery or Corruption for causing a loss to the government through the avant-garde floating armoury. In the revision petition, the former Defence Secretary added that the Colombo High Court rejected their previous revision petition, which cited that the said charge sheet presented against them was illegal. Furthermore, the revision petition noted that the decision taken by the Colombo High Court judge to reject their previous revision petition was in contradiction to the law and requested that the Court of Appeal discharge him and the other defendants from the case. Furthermore, the revision petition requested that an interim order be issued to the Colombo Magistrates Court to halt hearings pertaining to the avant-garde case until the petition is deliberated. Meanwhile, a case filed against former Economic Development Minister Basil Rajapaksa and former Director General of the Vinaguma Department Kitsiri Ranawaka for allegedly misappropriating 35.5 million rupees of funds belonging to the Vinaguma Department will be taken up before the Colombo High Court on the 4th of June. Representing the joint opposition, MPs Bandula Gunawardena and Sisira Jayakodi filed 2 petitions against the Liability Management Bill at the Supreme Court, citing that it contradicts the Constitution. Meanwhile, 2 incidents of child abuse was reported from schools in Mawatgama and Gampolo yesterday. Both incidents involved students being beaten by teachers at their schools.
A grade 3 student of Mavatagama Madhya Mahavidyalaya was assaulted by the class teacher. The student explained that he was also assaulted by classmates under the instructions of the class teacher. The classmates also confirmed his statement. Parents of the student claim that no relevant action has been taken by the principal of the school over the incident. When inquired from the principal of the school, P.B. Ratnayaka, he said that the vice principal of the primary school had submitted a report to the zonal education office following an investigation into the incident. In the meantime, a grade 10 student studying at the Nugavela Mahavidyalaya in Gampula was assaulted by the sports teacher of the school. Following her admission to the hospital, the doctors claim that her ear has been damaged. Relatives of the student and a group of residents of the area engaged in a protest in front of the school today, claiming that no proper action over the incident has been taken by the police.
The Global Mindful Summit was held today under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena. Jamie Bristow, the director of Mindfulness Initiative UK, was the guest speaker of the conference.
The Global Mindful Summit was held this evening under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena. In the meantime, speaking to us, the Director of Mindfulness Initiative UK, Jamie Bristow, elaborated on how mindfulness can help affected by bitter experiences such as war.
Here in Sri Lanka, when we are talking about is the fact that we cannot forget about the conflict that we experienced, and most of the people in that part of the country is yet traumatized. So would mindfulness help them?
Yeah, very much so. A lot of the evidence is pointing towards mindfulness really helping us to understand difficult negative emotions, to reduce those, to allow them to be as they are now, and therefore to move forwards in a more positive and creative way. Some people describe it as training to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. So you feel that anger, rather than locking it down and suppressing it, instead we sort of understand it a bit better, allow it how it is to be as it is now, and respond more creatively rather than out of habit or impulse. It's mainly about better understanding and better response to that feeling.
Make sure you join us at 8:30 p.m. tomorrow to watch our full exclusive interview with Jamie Bristow, the Director of Mindfulness Initiative UK, on Ada Derana 24/7. On to other local news now. Ada Derana was honoured with the most popular TV channel and the most popular news bulletin of the year at the Brand Awards organised by the D.S. Senanayake College last evening in Colombo. Awards were handed according to a survey done among 5,000 students in Colombo, Kalutara and Gampaha district. This year's awards ceremony saw 16 awards and 4 special awards being handed out. Let's now go for a short commercial break.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Ada Derana 24/7.
Welcome back to the news. The Minister of Finance announced today that the special commodity levy on imported potatoes will be increased by 29 rupees from midnight today. Accordingly, the existing levy of ₹1 will rise to 30 rupees. Now, the International Monetary Fund, as trustee of the Poverty Reduction and Growth Trust and the Banque de France, signed a borrowing agreement through which France will provide up to approximately $2.9 billion in new loan resources, which will be used for the benefit of IMF low-income member countries. Accordingly, the IMF agreement, made effective on the 1st of February this year, constitutes France's 6th loan contribution to the Poverty Reduction and Growth Trust and put France among the largest contributors to have provided new PRGT loan resources under the current fundraising campaign to increase resources available for concessional lending. Minister of Special Assignment Dr. Saratha Murugama says that a lot of administrative and political leaders in India have expressed satisfaction over Sri Lankan investments in the apparel industry in India. He was speaking at the inauguration ceremony of the IIT Expo Colombo 2018.
IIT Expo Colombo 2018, the Indian apparel exhibition, was held in Colombo recently with the participation of more than 40 Indian apparel manufacturers and exporters. The exhibition was organized in Sri Lanka for the third time this year.
At the level of our garment industry, we have scored a very important victory in resuming GSP Plus status. We are in a position to increase our production, go into new technology, and also the international environment, both in India and in the other global community, are very favorable to Sri Lanka. So we are meeting at a time when we can take a new step forward in our collaboration, and particularly in the garment sector. Sri Lanka will be able to source quite a lot of its fabric from India for several reasons. We have international obligations which help us to work closely with India. The product in India is also improving both in quantity and quality. I'm happy to say that very high Indian political and administrative officials have expressed their satisfaction and happiness at Sri Lankan investment in the garment business in India. And lastly, on the issue of this quota, because we have done very well and now we are ready to compete, so that either we have to increase the quota or go for free imports, competitive imports. So that is an area where we can work together, because India is a huge market.
The All Share Price Index ended steady today near a more than 3-month high hit early in the week as investors picked up diversified shares. The index ended 0.06% firmer at 6,575.39, near its highest close since 6th of November, and the index rose 0.18% during the week. Turnover stood at 813.6 million rupees and the foreign purchasers were 16.9 million rupees. For a detailed picture on how the market performed during the week, here's Stefan Dialvis from NDB Securities.
During the week, ASPI gained 0.2%, mainly due to price gains in counters such as Melster Corp, Ceylon Coal Stores and Commercial Bank. Meanwhile, S&P SL20 gained 0.6% for the week. The average daily turnover for the week was up from last week to 865 million rupees. Banks, finance and insurance sector recorded the highest sector turnover during the week, whilst the second highest was seen in the diversified sector. Furthermore, foreigners remained active during the week, closing as net buyers, with foreign purchases accounting for 44% of the total weekly turnover.
Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Australia's Deputy Prime Minister Barnaby Joyce says he will resign following a politically damaging saga that began with his affair with a former staffer. Joyce said he would step down on Monday as leader of the Nationals, the junior government partner.
Australia's Deputy Prime Minister Barnaby Joyce had previously resisted calls to quit amid intense scrutiny over his ministerial conduct. The scandal has dominated Australian headlines for more than 2 weeks. Today he described his decision as a circuit breaker for his family and new partner. This current cacophony of issues has to be put aside, he told reporters. Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull issued a statement shortly after thanking Joyce for being a fierce advocate for rural and regional Australia. The outspoken politician is perhaps best known for once threatening to kill Johnny Depp's dogs over a quarantine violation and for briefly losing his job over his New Zealand dual citizenship last year.
Former President of the Sri Lanka Tennis Association, Suresh Subramaniam, was elected as the President of the National Olympic Committee of Sri Lanka today. He will take office for a 4-year term.
The election of the National Olympic Committee of Sri Lanka was held this evening. Suresh Subramaniam is the former President of the Sri Lanka Tennis Association and newly appointed Vice President of the Asian Tennis Federation. He was among the final 2 candidates for the top position of the NOCSL alongside Rohan Fernando, the President of the Amateur Rowing Association of Sri Lanka.
Let's now cross over to Shanla Fernando at the other Derana Weather Centre with our forecast first evening edition.
A very good evening and welcome to Forecast First. Well, tomorrow will relatively be a warm day with temperatures ranging between 21 and 33 degrees Celsius, with the lowest yet again expected in the Central Hills. Well, looking at the map, a low pressure zone will form from the eastern region of the island and will gradually make its way to the central region. Well, the areas of Mena, Vaunia, Putlam and Anuradhapura will experience sunny weather. But that, however, will not be the same case in Kandy, Galle, Matara and Hambantota, as they can expect some showers. That's all we have from the Weather Centre tonight. Up next is your city by city forecast.
One of Britain's most high-profile pop music awards, British Record Industry Trust Awards, also known as Brit Awards, took the centre stage at the O2 Arena in London on Wednesday. Many of the stars wore white roses on the red carpet and during the show as a gesture of support for the Time's Up and Me Too movements against sexual harassment and abuse and supporting women's rights. Here's a look at how the show went off.
Nominees, performers and guests walked the Brit Awards red carpet on Wednesday, wearing white rose pins and carrying flowers in support of the Time's Up and Me Too movements. Jack Whitehall hosted the night with Justin Timberlake opening the show with a rendition of Say Something, accompanied by a score-strong choir.
It's Harry Kane and Camila Cabello.
Let's dance, y'all. Come on.
Singers Dua Lipa and Stormzy were the biggest winners at this year's Brit Awards, taking 2 trophies each at the event that saw some of the biggest musical performances.
It's Dua Lipa! Massive.
Lipa was named the Best Female Solo Artist and Breakthrough Act, while rapper Stormzy won the British Male Solo Artist Prize and British Album of the Year for Gang Signs and Prayer.
Here's to more women on these stages, more women winning awards, and more women taking over the world. Thank you so much. Stormzy! Wow, congratulations to Stormzy.
The award for MasterCard British Album of the Year goes to Stormzy! Everything I put in the album, I didn't have anything left after. You can ask Fraser, we went in there, we made something that I feel like is undeniable. I can stand by it today. Gang Signs and Prayer, Album of the Year. I love you guys. Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
Global Success Award.
Ed Sheeran took the Global Success Award, while One Direction star Harry Styles won Video of the Year by a British artist.
Congratulations to Ed Sheeran on winning the Brit Award for Global Success. This is Ed's 5th.
Thank you. Ronnie Wood, everyone.
US rapper Kendrick Lamar was named the Best International Male Artist, with New Zealand singer Lorde taking the Female Solo Artist honours.
For winning his first award, a straight A student. It was after a poetry assignment that he...
Ed Sheeran, Dua Lipa and Kendrick Lamar also performed on the night.
And you got to see the person I have become.
The feeling won't prosper. It feel like I'm toxic. It feel like I'm boxing demons, monsters, false prophets, scheming sponsors, industry promises, homie snitches.
The show saw Oasis frontman Liam Gallagher perform Live Forever in a tribute to the victims of a suicide bombing attack on a venue hosting a concert by US pop star Ariana Grande in Manchester in May 2017, which killed 22 people. One Direction member Liam Payne and Rita Ora performed their recent hit For You. The ceremony saw a perfect end with a spellbinding performance of Stormzy.
Don't get me for this, so be woke. This year I'm dishing out L's and free smoke. They tell us that we're fucks. I try and bust a myth, but someone told the Daily Mail they can summer.
And with that, we conclude this edition of First at 9. Thank you for joining us and have a pleasant evening.